Sangma ne samje tashi de lo shugu.
Sending my greetings to everyone.
Ne ngazo Ngöndro lar yang ne yue yin zang changzhi chu du semji be kulong ji saldam ne ne rimbe mala nyam du songro nang.
As we are resuming the practice of the preliminary Dhamma, so please follow me in generating the bodhicitta.
Guru Bema Bawa Gandru Zoda Je Tam Je Ku Karda Sonda Ge Nga Je Loi Tu Je Gomba Re Bara Jar Je Ngu Tala De De Ta Dril Je Ta Dan Je De Sil Chenpo Dun Je Nam Chenpara Enjo Lama Gandru Zo Nandi Medala Do Je 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 De Da Da Gam Zom Zem Je Nam Sem No Ma De Je Ngan Do Nam Desene Dur Be Na Warajam Mando Do Jur Be Zem Jena Purare Do Be Nal Jornge Shenka Jene Zo Be Je Palama Je Je Zo Ne Lunga Ye Da Nyo Me Ne Bar Tende Sang Be De La Ba Le Jawa Du Je Ran La Jo Nere Dru Nyam Ge Shen De Ro Tara Shen De Nye Dru Bai Lama Gandru Zo Nam Ye Medage Go Som Je Nye Lo Medage Go Som Je Nye Lo Medage Go Som Je Nye Lo La So Tene Lung Ko Ro De Nyam Do Sal Ro Nang lo so tene de ja la so zo ye che zo ye teng do ngo sa we lamba la namba chum den de yana tene gurum ba che che de la nis sem dum ba che je be to na so la da bo do so la da ne ani chilab dang tam ja rang lo top zong sa me de ma re wa da de sol dem dang chilab shu che sa wen jo la tene rangni ji kozum da la me kozum tozum yerme ne gyursum samye derwa ode chuz nyamdo na saldum na na shugi
So now so it's time to fervently supplicate the root guru sitting upon our crown. And essence is our root guru, but in appearance, the Buddha himself or Guru Rinpoche, Guru Brahma Sambhava. And then we are supplicating for the sake of granting blessings from the Guru. And at the same time, then we fully accept that or visualize that we are our three doors and the Guru's three doors are integrated fully.
Balde zawe lama rembo dage joro beme de lash Kaden jembe gone jezon de gozon do Ngöndro zaldo zo de zom zanje dam jige ngu Lama rinpo je dagi ju menje cholwara jenje labdos Sablam je doba je bara je gyula je wara jenje labdos Zede nye la oza zoba jembe lam Tarje bara jenje labdos Dezum zanje dam je ngu Lama rinpo je dagi ju minje chulwara jenje labdos Sablam je doba je bara je gyula je wara jenje labdos Tsede nye la oza zoba jembe lam jo dar jenje labdos Dezum zanje dam je ngu Lama rinpo je dagi ju minje chulwara jenje labdos Sablam je doba je bara je gyula je wara jenje labdos Tsede nye la oza zoba je lam jo dar je bara jenje labdos Solwa dezo lama rinpo je tuwe bedo je jenje di Kalme dala reza jele tuye yirmen je bara jenje lo Jema dage juje kane ja daljuro dene shindo je baranga Tunne je zo nye zo jela Kewa dribe longa majona renje lingde tonglo wan Kalde joje bemba madron Chine melu nye baranga la jo La so Tene nga so Chue su shindu drubar chamba la Ngöndro ngoshi Anche yere ba namba som yungu yore Ane te Chue ngöndro de yagang dakpa je mandro ba ina ngoshi nyamnen de Dada de chagi me bare Che zang tangbo ngöndro yakbo je nyamnen nang kogu yore
So to practice Dharma properly, we have to go through these procedures of practicing the preliminary and then the main body, as well as the conclusions, the three excellences. the excellent beginning, excellent man body, and the excellent conclusion. And if we could not practice the excellent beginning well, then we are unable to practice the excellent man body properly. So therefore, first we have to practice the excellent beginning well.
Tā Ngöndro tēlā tōmōng chī Ngöndro, tūmin nāngi Ngöndro, nāma nī lēp yōngi yore, tēlā tānda ngā zō tōmōng chī Ngöndro tē shūshimi kāpi mbare. Tā tēlā ngā zō koro la lōdō parche bē tāp nāmba shīpo tē, nē sō chine, nē kōnggō bā yīndū, tī nāne tāngbō, tāchur nye kō yu kor la, ngā zō samlo tāng tsāware. Tā tānda ngā zō chiwa mīdā pē kō la samlo tāng tā tōng shīmba yīmbare. Tā tēlā samlo tāng tā māngbō yu mī nāne, tānda ngā zō pē tuñ nā zō la samde mīdā pō kōmbā sō tā tī nū kōm shīmba yīndū tī kālē mā la nī shūgī.
So within the preliminaries of the commons and the uncommons, we are at the moment practicing the common preliminary dharma, and for common preliminary dharma, there are also sections such as the practice of the four mind changings. Within the four mind changing, we have so far, covered or practiced the difficulties of obtaining the riches and freedoms, and as well as the impermanence. We have, as for the impermanence, we have already covered most aspects of it, and now we are going to talk about the impermanence through the metaphors and the meanings.
네. 다다나 가서 디고라 섬노당이 베드나조 라 섬노당 원래 니 두제je chöe denzo sama ni karasore midang bu gyume rashi keji ni bar midebe ngo yindu ta delayang samlo chomangbo ne tane tangcho yorwa bena kewi tama ane chewa samde medaba komba sana lebu yore ade koruwa nangla ke sunje ngobo kangda kangina da kangsa yinba inanda kangsa mayinba inanda ke was yin sona ane tama de ma ngak droya sana mendo chi droya de ngejen re ma do ba ma chi lagen mangak ne lagen ji kaya mebare ane ta de la ko shigi in min se du zana nga karasore mi in shigi mare nga la in shigi mare nga tunre san da de la top na kone da wang da da zen shuk che jong da den de do sa ka me bare ngam chi ma do shi nge jen re de yure o den de ko la kyu sa ni sam lo da ro na.
So then as for the impermanence through the various metaphors and the meanings, and then as all the compounded phenomena are impermanent, and all after the birth they perish, not only human beings, all the entities, all the the phenomena or the beings, after taking birth, and then some point we perish or we die, and then there is no one who has ever lived without needing to die, right? We can't say I am being in the God realm and I am not dying. I'm a human being, I'm not dying. I am animals and I'm not dying. There's no such things at all, right? Every beings die at the end after taking birth. Then we live for certain times, and then at the end we all perish. We all die. So now please take a moment and contemplate on this point.
So that then in the case of Angela, me nanda, Tundri nanda, Hikobarwa, the Duke of so Ninya Koro, Pama Punjala, so Banyamri Nayanda, Menayanda, Sierra, and the Jidan de member, and the Tajenda, member Yara Yara Nyamri Teba in the Yan Sierra, Mishamba Pa Susha, member Korayan, Tamashiko Yure. And go didn't Bombay nga Mabay that Kormambo you didn't young captive Tareka Yomare Kolok Sungjob Chege and a child of Donna Mambo you corte by an young and a Tamashi let and a Tarias and the Sawan in the Mabare never do she go in Jazam Tang Sing Gwene Shera Resha, Netandane, Tambil Hachu Yang the Bajamoduna, then the Jesamare is or the date and kill some of down.
Okay, now then, after taking birth, we all perish, human beings as well as other, animals, right? Even though we are surrounded by our relatives or our parents, we will, die one day. Even though we are accompanied by, physicians or doctors, we will die. Not only those, ordinary human beings, even the doctor themselves, they will perish, and at the same time, those other, humans, such as, uh, the people with powers, such as commanders of the militaries, all of them, even though they have a lot of uh, followers or entourage, they will perish. How much ever powers and the followers they have, they will at the end will die like just all other human beings, right? So therefore, as death is certain for everyone, now please take a moment and contemplate that we have to, practice Buddha Dharma, since death is certain for everyone. So now contemplate on this, please.
so Nintendo Chene, and some lot on the Shan career residue, and the Sagbitama Seba Severe. Naranzo Semjan Dangzi, Dangma, Dangzi la Petana, Shan to Gure. Ne Dangma, Dangma Denzo Ditine, go Medo di Chu, Ningba Mambo, Jacale Mambo, Jamna, and Sagire. Ne Sa Saujela, and Miss Lemnete, and Machidogre. Go Sa Masedogre. And Naranzo me and Jita, when the summer long by in a young. Then Kurang Kale Mamu Jamne, Muna Sir. What in it, how La Sobacum, Chama La Sobacum, any Sanla Nico Mago Dendeme, Nila Lubute Ramara Dendeme, Tenekale Mambo, Jamne Sawa Tenzo Yang, and the Ken Mambo Ramana Chayong Du, and the Sama Sene. And you know, Lonja Saba does a Keku Meba, Sedula. Kalamamba Jabba Saba, and the Lonja Punun Soba Yoga into the Semela Chikaya Meba, then Mambo Chowdro Yubare, then make a toya Mambo Younger Yuri. Don't have a tendon Kaimendova. What take a risk Chagura said, Dananga Sawa Toya, the Comba La Soba, then Kalangan Jix Yago Samsung Road, and Mesa Punun Soba huge Yosamba Road, Tilang also Ngom Deba Road, Tilani Tarang la Yang Tena, and the Diggy Mare. They are Taba Demaka Mebarwa, Tiringi Saba de Sani Savage in the Kaju Semazan Eva Mebare. Or Tendela Sam Luton there, or Nadizo Nimboka and Sungime, and the Tamil Hajo Yang Dabaji Jugi in Sambaji, and Chigure, or Dinella Jokes on the Darona.
So then the another way to think about is that the end of the accumulation is exhaustion. So whatever we accumulate at the end, they will exhaust, right? Just like the honey and the bees, bee works very hard to accumulate honey, but at the end, when the huge amount of the honey is accumulated, and then human being will come and take all this away, and just like this, for human beings, even if we work very hard in the hot weathers or the cold weathers, or sometimes without being able to have proper sleep, at the end, whatever we accumulate, we will lose them, or they will be exhausted, right? So when whatever we accumulate in our early life, at the end of our life, they all will be exhausted, or they will be gone, right? So therefore, we should not be distracted by whatever we have now, the food, drinks, and clothing, so forth. Whatever good conditions we have, we should not be distracted by them, and instead we should think that whatever we have now will be exhausted. And so instead of getting very attached to our possessions that we have now, we should commit to practice Dharma properly. All right. So now please take a moment and contemplate on this point.
so and daga nashindo dubi tama chal sigire and ngazo tanda ani ngarazo nyamzum jene and du yungur zum yungur and ta tuzo khashe chala yang kadal do yorwa and ngarazo mize de ne tangbo ne tanda bordo sambanda na and pama punje nye guru cho chobola soba kazo mangbo zom sare and zom de mi kadu ne nyamdu sanal hagmendo wa yang du sawchala ka thale de ngobo chunjire de yure ta de re de du da ka thalo samje de yang den ke mere de de la hale shara yo mare de tama du be thalo ngoma de kar charo ya sepo dogo wa tanang azo zambulingi mi kambo chigi chila ngoshe nanda mashe nanda nyamdi duwa soro chi rede me nyen rede shinu me rede nini tat asa mayimba me mangbo che korante ni ma katal rugu yore tanda du yore de chal dan chal shimbarwa soso yang ta de katal ye kanla kadu le mali ngeba kaya yo mare tanda yinda te chela yinda sanyi yimi kango su marwa karma khashe chela katal 사와야 스버레 데인데 단단에 담벨 하셔 좀 만들나 아니 제마 놈을 드서 말해서 어딘데 네 교sam로 나오나
So now, next is uh, the gathering and then partings, right? The end of the gathering is partings, right? Or whoever we meet in this life, at the end, we have to part from them, right? And in this life, we meet our parents, our relatives, and good friends, so forth. But at the end, we have to, leave them behind, or we have to separate from them, right? As this is the phenomenon of impermanence, the power of the impermanence. That we all at some point part from each others, we separate from each others, and then the most powerful and the actual parting is the ending of a life, right? Apart from parting from our friends and relatives, we part from this life. We separate from this life at the end, right? So then, all people on this earth, in this world, the huge amounts of the human beings on this world, and we at the end, depart from each other, right? No one stay together forever. So this is the case or the fact. Now we have to contemplate that, such, the fact that we cannot stay together forever. We have to, at the end, depart from each other. So therefore, instead of wasting our time, we should commit to the practice of the Buddha Dharma. So now, yeah, please take a moment and contemplate on these points.
so ini daga nakshin do ini tsekbi taman yel sunggu yore. Ini nga zo kangba la so ba da ngo mongbo ji tsekar sheba ina tama xeere ma do. Ini kadu ina ya mashina lakan sangde zane mebare. Ini danda nga zo chongde chongkir nyingba dinzo la chimba ina. Nna nga me tuzu chigi kapsu ini hajangi chongkir kera chomba da. Ini lo yun nana khoy teba dine mongbo ji ina ya. Ini danda kyangro da shikro dine ma do ba ini meba mongbo shuji yore. Ini dande 갑자기 정제르당 강발라 소바 분수 소바 인바든소 양 로카주 가시절량 마사도 그래 겔도 그래 마도 막 딱발 하여서 근데 가야 매바래 타고 두제지 저 인도잖아 섹사도 타마 남지마도 고 만젤장레 마도 막 하 매바로 디인도 나zo 메제데야 네 단단네 신발에 여바래데 네 담아다 겔네 로이 뽕벌라 줄 내전을 마도 봐 아니 소보데 롤 민주르 gen지 수치할 하고 말해 된나네 된rel을 삼로당 용도 당가 단달을 되는 데서 말해 담일 하주 좀 주고도 냠바잖아 삼로도 스타로나.
So next is the ending of the building. It's collapsing, right? So no one, no things stay built, forever, right? After some point, whatever we have built will be, collapsed or destroyed. If we look at an old cities, such if, for instance, in the historical accounts, if there's a record of the city, beautiful city, standing in the history at some point, very beautifully. But if we now go take a look, then we will only see ruins and the debris and so forth. Whatever they built in the old days are all gone, right? We don't see them anymore. So, and just like that, whatever we have now, all the big cities we have built will one day perish and will one day also, be like the cities in the historical accounts, right? So as these compounded phenomena, they all will one day, they be collapsed or destroyed, right? So just like that, then our human body, even though right now we have a good condition to human body, but at some point it will collapse or perish like the cities, right? So therefore we have to now commit ourselves to practicing Buddha Dharma. Instead of attaching to our physical body, we should commit to practicing Buddha Dharma. So now please take a moment and contemplate on this point.
so daga nangshindu toyo tama lung sigire yana toyo tama ma tama mangbo junju jogire naso da mi mize de la sedo la yana kyalpo da lombo da pombo da tende yinba mangbo je seme la de ma sa ne mang kyuma kyurwa da kyuma nang ne kyuma de hajang ge yang da tenyo long jan de la gan da tende ya mangbo yongire sedo la chongba hajang ge champo de so seme la de mi hen la re ne te go ba tende ya mangbo shuju yongire so diringi ane kaso re ming yogan da nyanda yogan da gyuno long paljur yogan da top kone yogan de so ane sani dagarang la ma la ngeba kaya yo marwa sani nani ya mi kyuma nana kyuma kyosho gana la dene mangbo chi yongu yore de ngarang so mi kya mangbo di roja ane thwaya yore la ngoma logyo nala ya mangbo chi kwe de yore ta de so ngobo chunyi yinde tagba tenpa kaya yo mare ne tanda so chungse kaso punsun soba yoba denzo la nana hajangi nyongam da hajangi chakshin chumbo je maje ne mida bayang samlo dan kogo yore la lakbar do da takden kaya mebe ngobo chunyi di la samlo dan yondu ta tanda kaso koron roa riru nana te tsiya towa milu rinpo je toba re de tseme ta tseme sani mo de kiawa chema ngenson somde milungu sani ngeba kaya yo marwa kora nana ya kor magor chaya yinba re de ta chema ngenson somla rondo meba yina tanda tambi lajo yangda bu jun rup kogu yore wata di lajo tanda rumna madon desa mare samsum doji wa dinde juni gomba chero na.
Okay, next is the the end of the rising is falling. All right, in this world, those who are claiming to be kings, ministers, or queens, so forth, even though at certain point they are kind of in such a positions, but it's many times these positions will fall, and these kind of people will end up living as ordinary poor peoples, sometimes even as a beggar, right? And likewise, if a rich businessman can also end up being beggars, right? And whatever the riches and the excellences we might have in this life or in this world, all of these are on the verge of being lost, and then we being end up being very poor peoples, right? And these things happens right now in the humanity, and also had happened in the history, right? So this is mainly due to the impermanence, the power of the impermanence. Whatever we have, positions, name, and their wealth, all will one day, lose, or will be gone, or we will lose them, right? Right now, we are as human beings in the six realms. But one day, if we do not work hard and accumulate merits, we will go to the lower realms, and this is also very possible, right? So therefore, if we do not want to, go to the lower realms or fall into the lower realm, we have to commit ourselves to practicing Buddha Dharma. So now, please take a moment and contemplate on these points.
나서 다가 나신도 알아서 지된데라 네 대지 본좀 소바 세사지 다다 년다 다 되는 제 되는 가서래 아 바로 라스 로고요래 아니 다 매바도 년 본좀 소바요나 아니 대화다 아니 다요 년 매바는 동알로제 쓰로요래 다디양 딱된 가요 말에 아주 세들라 아니 하장게 아니 참든 야고요게 하장게 닝요요게 내서 세면라 아니 지기 통나야 아니 가서 그래 공로랑와다 지기라네 세레제 냥가 전부 된대요 버버도 요르스게 요래 양 세들라 되네 지기라는 다 하장 쇼좀 연결된서 세면라야 매서 참보다 돈보 되네 요르스게 요래 또 된서 다다 냥사근데 그 미다고 유를 주지 딱바 된바 가야 매버려 된절라야 이된다 아니 나서 아니 다들 이제나 tempo 제가 요 말에 또 미다고 유를 주잖아 와 아니 개왕감질라 선도도나 다가나셔네 생활마지 다데 세디 년년스 그래 생활마지 년데 세들라 다 줄스 그래 어딘서 다다 년세근데 상말라양 타지도 단다 내가라 팬도 받아 너버져와 된다 섬주는 하정 그 섬지네 당신다 자신 좀 맞네 상말라네 네 잠닝지지 쓴네 로트비제 레와체 보고 요래 또 된데 마도만 미다방 에바카이면도 와 어데네 지 미다버 유르 줘야 될라야 교수 섬나도로나
In the world, usually, the happiness and then sufferings we conceive to be, for instance, if we have a lot of friends and their relatives or so forth, then we would consider it to be happy or happiness, right? If we have, a lot of enemies, then we will, consider it to be, sufferings, right? And those however these things are impermanent, right? In in our life, sometimes those who are friend in our earlier life can be enemy in our later life. In the enemy in our early lives can be friends in our later life. There's no certainty in these things, right? They all can change at all time, right? So therefore, we cannot take these things very seriously, such as friends as the source of the happiness, and enemy as the source of the suffering. So we cannot take this very seriously. They will always change it, right? Not only in this life, even in your previous life, and between previous life and this life, it might be like some of our friends in this life might be might have been the enemy in our previous life. Those we believe to be enemy in this life they might be friends in our previous life. So there's no certainty. There's no the guarantee in these things, right? All things changes from moment to moment. Therefore, we since this is the case, we should not take these things very seriously and then attached to those we believe to be our friends, and then hate to those who we believe to be our enemies. So we should not do that. Instead, we should generate more of the equal attitude, the attitude of the equanimity to all and everyone. So now please take a moment and contemplate on this point.
Lazo, ta de na shen jene, lenye jidu denzo la yang, ne tawa tenpa kaya mebare. Lazo, ta me kashe tsedo la hajang ki dewe wa. Ni kibu, tene yoba ina yang, seme la yang, kange mongbo nyangen tene yore. Kashe tsedo la tene tongal mongbo nyang, kange mongbo nyangin bala yang, seme la yang, teji kangla kanzam yogen tene yungu yore. Ta denzo kangla yang ngeba dang tenpo sana yo mara wa. Ta ngeba da tenpo yogen di, kare resi tu sana, tarbe kobang dire de yore. Ta kabala ya, kabala ma gyurwa ramandur, meba. Tarbe kobang topde yo na, tambe lacho yang doba jin rube ramba doba, tabshenpa yo mare. Shen jikden ji ngoba denzo, takden kaya mendo wa, ya ma mongbo gyur rogo yore. Wa tende, mingyur wa ji, tarbe kobang ji, nge toba chikin nyamba ji, tende kyuk samla dama na.
So next is, as there's no certainty in the things that we believe to be good and bad, right? Some people, might have great, happiness in their earlier life, but they might, suffer a great deal in their later life. Vice versa. Some might, suffer a lot in their earlier life, but might, enjoy a great deal of, happiness in their later life. So, there's no certainty in these things. We cannot take these things to be very certain, right? All these things are changing, from moment to moment, right? Only the things that is not changing or stable is the liberations, right? The liberation from the samsaric world, and for that to gain the liberations, and we have to practice Buddha Dhammas. And otherwise, in worldly things, there is no certainty. They change from moment to moment. We cannot rely on them. So therefore, the only things that we can rely on is the liberations. So now, please take a moment and contemplate on thinking, contemplate, about, wanting to practice Buddha Dhamma properly. Yeah.
Lazo, dine chene, mutine, medaba de yang no, kumbro nang, tiring, de chene, kale, peje de nyamdo soro nang.
Please practice the impermanence in this way, in whatever you can. So, and at the same time, follow me in reading or the changing the rest of the text.
Rolba Jembe Nilguru Teje Zanga Jebe Gawa Tuzum Zabe Gezo Gundum Lame Janjo Nyamboro Ngowara Indi Sonam De Daye Joa Chena Zawe Barje Goji Ramye Lamje Jeba Darje Nebema Goma Nyurondo Jo Zangyu Lame Jelam Nila Yedam Kandro Luda Jevje Shugyo Zone Barje Gonsal Chodung Chum Drube Raji Jo Omao Badrangoro Bemazede O Mijede Chemba Yejene Awazanyo Megaye Dame Sonjo Wa Bechu Darangona Rajen Jor Bejin Jo Bema Chuni Ngo Zum Jase Dele Lo Nyam Nango Beljame Ganjem Riba Ze Beba Wo Dragi Chuzi Lo De Doje Lo Karanju Dewe de me gombo dae nyeje dire je jan abe moda kozom go de chembe do jens kando jo be zenjo gelazo zendang go yinamro dale be nyuju Wajebe dun zander, tajen ga nyam yeje jazo, sede be ma dado jewarasho, deyare zenamshi zelam la denego yeje jazo, zonye la mengo ma nyurdom. Rajen de ne lunye jubarajo de beje dairem pemanjo ranada bezando barish nare yere me maju nyume de ne nam da jindo Kewarajo Gangdo Jebe Jewa Damje Do Tore Yunde Dunde Dobra Kema Dando Cheda Jejuro Ne Tsushin Jube Rawa Yubra Chudo Nene Nyembo Tundrum De Tsedre Sebe Jazo Sebar dambe chera dunje je shiben jubla dungal mebra labje yendun chore meba tamje chamje sanje do bara shu lazo toje na sama gozo toje na ngazo chama jayon
Everyone, please take care, and we will see each other again next week.